They go Bishop Robinson.
Okay, sorry about that. Welcome back, everybody. I know you guys continued with the conversation. I couldn't follow the conversation because we were trying to work out technical difficulties on this end, but we are both live on Facebook and the broadcasting as well as Instagram. Did you guys have the youth conversation yet?
No, we had a youth conversation because are we bringing someone in?
Yes, yeah, we got two young people that you guys are going to talk to.
Are they on here right now?
Yep, yeah, on here right now. Let me, Jawaan, I think they're on your sister's line.
What's their names, Bishop?
Hold on. Nakaya's coming back and she has all of that. So in the meantime, we are live on Facebook as well, and we are going to bring them into the Facebook. Those of you that are watching, just bear with us. We're pulling everything through. We appreciate it. You know, anytime you're doing something, make sure where are they on Instagram? Are they watching from Instagram?
I just need their names or Instagram names.
Okay, hold on. They can't go on their accounts. All right, so you know what? Nakaya's gonna walk them through on my phone, bring them over, say hi, pick the phone up. There you go. We're gonna get this together, and we're gonna bring our youth guests on now. So there are, and then I'm unmuting you, Jawaan. I'm unmuting you, Joseph, Willie. So, whew. All right. So
I
it
don't
took
even
a
know.
little
I
bit
didn't
of
even check
time.
the schedule, man. If they all playing, they
Okay.
better not take no L's.
And the Knicks, what you think the Knicks gonna do this year?
Now, I think they're gonna make something happen, man. They got Cat, you know what I'm saying? So Cat, that's a big, you know what I'm saying? That was a big move right there, you know what I'm saying?
There's some feedback.
Can you hear us?
That might be on mute.
Yeah, they definitely on mute. They got
No, then
down for the endorsement.
Yeah.
okay. Are we good?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Must feel good to be young again.
One of them, you have to turn the mic down on one. All right. Brad, we're good, guys. I don't hear them.
Yeah. We're waiting for the technical stuff. We're gonna be right back on point. Y'all know that it's a safe word, man. Y'all know who we are. Why people don't vote? Why this generation not voting? Knicks playing the Cavs right now. What? Who's winning right now? You ready?
All right, testing. Talk. They can hear.
Hello?
Oh.
You can hear me?
On both Instagram?
They can't unmute on both. They can mute one. Or else it's gonna go
They have to be able to hear.
So what are we doing?
Go ahead and talk.
Hello?
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 Do you hear us?
We can hear you guys back here.
All right, Instagram. Jojo and Jawaan. Can y'all hear your youth guests now?
Hello? All right, good.
Okay.
How y'all feeling today?
What's going on, y'all?
Feeling good. Keep my spirits high. That's a fact. Introduce yourself to the world, my young brother and young queen.
I'm Jade Coffee.
I'm Jawaan. Okay. And you guys are from Long Island? Yeah, I'm from Long Island. What part y'all from? I'm from Riverhead. Okay. What part you from?
I'm from Coram.
Okay. Sween, where you from?
Yeah, bro. Originally from CI, Border Heights.
This is
I'm from Abbeville.
All right.
Peace. So we having a discussion about voting. I want to hear you guys' opinion about why this generation don't take voting serious and why they're not voting. I just want to get you guys' opinion.
I personally think the youth doesn't vote that much due to the fact that they're uneducated on politics majority of the time, or they don't have ID to register to vote. And the electoral college also plays a role because that makes them feel like their ballot doesn't matter. So people feel like their votes just don't matter at all. You feel me? And then
I understand what he's saying. When he said the part about ID, I be knowing mad young,
identification. Identification.
Nah, that's a fact.
Word. And I also say that social media it portrays our candidates as well. So it shows. Well, let me say this. Well, it's like it's the way the media portrays our candidates. It gives them character, and a lot of people decide to judge their character. And I believe that most of the time we can't really judge these people because humans are imperfect. You feel me? And it just makes the youth just despise these people, and a lot of people just don't want to deal with it or feel like it's not important. And majority of the time, their votes just don't matter.
Let me ask you this: do you and your friends? I'm curious. Do you ever even talk about voting?
Yes, sir.
Does it come up in the conversation?
Yes, sir.
Like, yo, are y'all gonna vote? Like,
Yes,
does that ever get talked about?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. We talk about voting a lot.
That? I'm just curious. How is that?
It's often. I mean, we talk about it a lot because the next 4 years of our lives, that's us.
Exactly. It also depends. Like, you gotta have people around you to educate you. Like, we're really close with Minister Jawaan, so he educates us on a lot of stuff. So if we didn't have him around, we probably wouldn't know as much as we do. And we're of age, so it's like we're gonna vote, so we need to know the knowledge of what's going on.
Shout out to Minister Jawaan keeping y'all in the loop. Let's give him a hand.
Sir. Still no class.
That's real. You gotta keep it real. Keeping y'all in the loop. Like,
where he definitely does.
Yeah.
That's respect. You know what I'm saying?
All the
sorry,
time.
young lady, carry on.
But yeah, I think it's good that we do get involved because we're the next generation, so we should have a say on what's gonna happen in our lives because we're up next. Like we really just need to know what's about to go on.
Yo, I love the way you guys like are talking. Minister, you don't like this? You're like, you're part of this.
Nah, for sure, bro. Like, I love it all, man. I love everything you said. And it's the truth, to be honest with my brother. It's the truth. We definitely need to be educated. Our demographic, our people. We need to be educated, on what politics is, on the importance of voting, and understanding and realizing that we have a voice. You know what I'm saying? Why is it that every other community has a voice except the black demographic? You understand what I'm saying? We have a voice, and we have to understand that. We built this country. You feel what I'm saying? We built this country. You feel me? The same demographic that was cotton is now able to pick presidents. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like we gotta understand the power that we have. If we were able to build this country from nothing, man, when we come together cohesively, it ain't nobody that can stop us. We a dynasty. And if we learn how to take that education and apply it and really walk in our authority, yo, bro, we gonna shake the world.
I love that. We gotta figure out a way how to get some of these younger people IDs though.
Yeah, that's a fact.
You know what I mean? That's very, very important.
It is though. It is.
Yeah, indeed.
You need some ID.
Yeah, you do, man. You do. You need some ID.
For everything.
Man, yo, we appreciate you guys checking in, man.
Of course.
And I love this. I love the fact that you guys are even conscious about what's going on. For you guys to be that young, you guys have an understanding of what's going on. I'm proud of y'all. I don't know y'all, but at the end of the day, I love what you guys represent. Anything else you want to say to the world about voting?
Not really, but I did want to touch upon what Minister Jawaan said about us building this country.
Yeah, go ahead.
More talk. Come on, man. Talk that talk.
A lot of times, we also say that we come from kings and queens, but we come to prove that today we proved that we aren't that. And America keeps us separated with many things such as religion, etc. And I believe like it's going to be very hard to come together. And we looked at it in 2020 when we had the BLM thing going on, the whole situation. I feel like that was the only time we really came together, and most of the time we really don't come together. So right after that happened, what happened? I mean, just look at us. We just scrambled. So I feel like it's going to be very hard for that to happen, and that America itself is going to keep us away from each other. I mean, look at our candidates. We asked them during their debate, what are they going to do for us and for poverty, and they had nothing to say. So how can we? Is the question. How can we?
Minister, what you got to say, Minister? I love this.
This is amazing, man. I love this. Listen, he hit it on the head, bro. He hit it on the head. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're so divided, man, as a society. And another thing, brother, if I could be real, even my young man, if I could be real with y'all, man. There has been a lot of false promises made to our society that have not came through, from the previous politicians in the past. So a part of that, hearing, all of those promises that have been made to our society, we're going to get you this, we're going to do this, we're going to get you affordable housing, we're going to make sure, that single mothers are taken care of, we're going to make sure that the taxes are lowered, you know what I'm saying? All of the promises that they made in the past. Those false promises that they weren't able to, fulfill or come through on, that kind of made us very discouraged. That kind of made us not really trust anybody who steps in the office, even our own kind. And that made us say, you know what? I'm not even going to vote, because what's the sense of voting for somebody that's going to keep making false promises?
Exactly.
And if this cycle continues to be reinvented, it's like I'm wasting my time and I'm wasting my voice.
Exactly. It's like they stealing our vote.
Let's take it again for a minute. I want to ask the younger people this. Do you guys, being young, do you guys realize, in a sense, when the false promises are not really happening?
Yeah.
Do you guys,
Of course.
talk about that?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
and that's the main reason why we don't vote. Like when we talk about it amongst ourselves and our age group, that's a main factor that comes up as to why we don't vote, because it's like it just feels like our voice is not being heard when we voted for these people who are telling us they're going to do this and this, and then it doesn't happen. That's why most people don't vote. That's our age.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I'm only 17, so I can't even vote yet.
Wait. How old are y'all?
I'm 17.
I'm 19.
Oh, you didn't even. Oh my God, you sound like you ready to vote. Don't you sound like you ready to vote?
Nah, he's real. That's a fact. You sound ready, bro.
You sound like you're ready to vote, man. We appreciate y'all, man. Like I love this. I love the fact that we have young kings and queens that's conscious about voting, and for you guys to come on here, this is amazing to hear from you. You guys are the next generation.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And to hear from you guys, give us a different perspective, like why the younger generation is not voting, and we appreciate y'all. We thank y'all so much. And Minister, it's on you, man.
Yeah, indeed, man. Like I said, everything you said is very accurate, man. And I feel like we gotta just do better. At this point, from here on out, nobody's gonna take care of us like us. Nobody's gonna unify us like us. We gotta make the decision and the determination that we're gonna come together cohesively, and we're gonna utilize our voice more frequently because we have a voice. Young people, I want to ask you this, and I don't know if Jojo want to chime in, but how can we make voting more relevant, especially amongst the young people? Because before y'all came on this broadcast, right? Myself and my brother Jojo, we were saying how a lot of the decisions that we make is predicated upon who has your attention and who's influential in our communities. So I want to ask y'all, who what can we do and how can we corral our young people, to make voting, more popular, per se, in our community.
What happened to the youngins?
I personally think that a way we could get
Or they took
more
the youngins out.
younger people to vote is truth,
Or they
man.
coming
Just
back.
the truth.
All
The
right.
truth itself.
Yeah, no,
Like
no
we never get the
sugarcoating,
truth.
no sugarcoating. Just give it to us how you would give it to somebody that's older.
And a lot of times, a lot of our candidates decide to say the pros instead of stating our cons.
We're going to shift the conversation to the fathers. We heard
in portion of why they don't vote and what the challenges are when they do vote. Now we want to hear from the fathers who have helped to pave the way and where we have come from as a people as it relates to voting. These three that we're going to hear from is Bishop Luter, Bishop Walter Willie, and Reverend Roger Pearson. And so that's, and those of you, if you're on the line now on the Instagram, please hit the request to join so that they can bring you on the Instagram, as well as they should be, our technician is bringing them on to the Facebook live as well. But the OGs are coming, but the conversation is really good. The conversation is really good. All right, so we're bringing them in now. We got it. I think we have Bishop Walter Willie. The only person that we don't have on at this moment is Bishop Reverend Pearson. So we're just waiting for Reverend Pearson to come on. So just give us a moment on the Facebook side. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold on. Okay. Oh, what do we do here? There we go. And we got Bishop Luter, we have Jojo, and we have Jawaan. Where are you at? Jawaan, you still on the Facebook Live one, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm still on the Switch Studios.
Oh, I see you. I see you. Let me take myself off. And all right. So everybody receive our next set of panels, which is Bishop Luter, Bishop Walter Willie, and we have Jojo still here with us, and we have Jawaan still here with us. Now that's on the Facebook. Wait, Bishop Luter, did you follow Jojo on the Instagram? All right. So
Yeah, I'm on Say Word podcast on
yes. Send a request for him to bring you on the live. Same as you, Bishop Willie. Can you send a request for Say Word Podcast to bring you on the live? Wait, Bishop Luter, did you follow Jojo?
Excuse me? Do we do that through the message?
I'm on Say Word Podcast.
Okay. All right. Jojo, bring them in. Send a request for him to bring you on the live. Same as you, Bishop Willie. Did you send a request for? Yep, take me out. On the live. Okay. All right, y'all. Just give them a moment. We want to get the OGs on that.
Comment.
You guys
Make
are
sure you
on
like. Make sure you
the
run it up. Make
Facebook
sure you
and go to the
tag.
network.
Everybody that you know, man. This is a wonderful conversation thus far. And listen, it's much needed in our demographic. So make sure, man, y'all supporting this broadcast. Y'all supporting this Instagram live. You know what I'm saying? And y'all make sure y'all tap in. Y'all share the links. We need all of our people, man, to tap in and to give their perspective on, why we don't vote in our community and in our society. Or my young people, if y'all on here, y'all let me know. Y'all talk back to me. Listen, it's much needed in our demographic. You know what I'm saying? And y'all make sure y'all tap in. Y'all share all of our people, man, to tap in and to give their perspective on, why we don't vote in our community and in our society. Or my young people, if y'all on here, y'all let me know. Y'all talk back to me.
I don't know Bishop Luther's.
Yeah, I see both of y'all on my computer, but I don't see myself. But I am on the
Bishop
Switch
Luda.
platform with Bishop Robinson.
Can y'all hear me on there? Bishop Luda.
Yes.
Yes, we can.
What's his Instagram name on? What's his Instagram name?
Luda, what's your Instagram? What's your Instagram name, Bishop Luda?
It's Bishop ACL.
Bishop ACL.
Yeah, Bishop ACL. Yes.
What's his Instagram name on? What's his Instagram name?
Bishop ACL.
Daddy. And I'm trying to invite you in, Dad, but it won't. I don't know what you got. You got to click the link to join in. So I'm gonna send you the link again. All right.
Okay, I just sent you a message.
All right, I see somebody on. We see Reverend Pearson.
That's Reverend Pearson. Yeah,
You
he's on.
got Reverend Pearson. Reverend Pearson, I don't see you on the live on the Switch studio.
I got kicked off the other line.
Pearson, how's it going this afternoon, my brother?
Good, how are you, sir?
Everything is wonderful. We just want to get your thoughts on this whole process and give us your views on everything.
Well, I've been listening to the young people, and the first thing that comes to my mind is that they're misinformed. Not just not knowledge. They're misinformed, right? I met a young lady the other day who she was 30 years old. She never voted. Wow. And I said, why haven't you voted? She said, I don't know how. And I said, wow. She said, they don't teach that anymore in social studies. And I thought that was deep. She said, we used to learn that in social studies years ago, but they don't teach that anymore as part of the high school curriculum. She said, I don't even know, check this out, I don't even know how to open a bank account because no one taught me how to do that. I said, but you know how to spend money, but she said, no one's ever taught her how to open a bank account. So, I mean, they're misinformed. The second part of it is, for my family, voting is like going to a barbecue. Okay. Now, what we do it together, right? But you gotta understand why, right? Coming from Brooklyn, our relatives were people like Al Sharpton, Vanderbilt. Those were people who were intricately part of the political process. And so we live that every day in our household. Our Thanksgiving and our Christmas, there was a room, there was a side where before we came out to Amityville and went down to what's that Caribbean Village or whatever it's called. But Golden Crust, that whole chain started as a result of the Brooklyn restoration. So, and these are people that look like us, sound like us, operate like us, live like us, right? Ownership. That's the big word. Ownership, right? I lived in the projects growing up, but I'm a proud owner of a house in Bayshore, New York. You know, at some point we got to start to think about ownership. That we are controlling the dollars, and one of the ways to control the dollars is through voting and putting people in those positions. Floyd Flake was the head of banking committee when he was in the Congress. So he absolutely pastors those that have the knack and the savvy and the know-how should definitely use that.
I mean, that was all on point, my brother. You know,
I appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
That. Minister, anything else you want to say to?
Within a little span of time, a wealth of knowledge that we all needed to hear. Ownership, I believe, and that's something I also teach. I teach young people financial literacy, and a lot of the material that I teach from it is based upon ownership, because it's not a lot of owners in our demographic, in our community. So that is a big part of it, and yes, it ties into voting. We own by casting our votes. And by casting our votes, it ensures and it increases our probability of actually owning, our communities, the communities that we've built, the communities that we've, been residing in for years, that we've had traditions in, for years. It's up to us to take back our communities and buy back our own blocks. So Reverend, you made a lot of great points, and we just want to say thank you. We appreciate you for your perspective. The knowledge, it was definitely informative, and a lot of people needed to hear everything that you said.
For your wealth of knowledge, it was definitely informative, and a lot of people needed to hear everything that you said. Well, God bless you, young brothers. I mean, it is you guys encourage me. You encourage me, because as long as there's a Jojo and a Jawaan, then some neighborhoods are going to be. Right? Because you are part of those communities. You are the image, setting the example, ownership of your own, right, podcast or other things that for what you are this whole season. Jojo, I want to know, did Clyde Frazier give you that hat? Did that look like a Clyde Frazier? That look like a Walt Clyde Frazier hat. I guess shout out to Clyde. I know what you're saying. Like, shout out to Clyde man. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you, man. See you next time. Thank you so much. Be cool. All right.
Bless you guys. So we're still in, what a wonderful segment thus far. And I want to again say to you all, Jojo and Minister Jawaan, you guys are doing a phenomenal job. We're going, even if we have to turn the mics up, because I don't know if they're able to get in, take the time off, Nakaya. I don't know if they can get in on the Instagram, but they are on the other platform that is simulcasting on Facebook, on YouTube, Roku, and Apple TV. Here we have Bishop Andy Luter, who is on the Facebook channel through GOTV Broadcasting Network, and we can allow him to have the same point of question, and we'll give him 90 seconds to make his initial statement, and then right after him, our Bishop Walter Willie is also waiting in the wings. We'll give him 90 seconds to make his initial statement, and then we'll chime in, because we definitely want to hear all the voices of our fathers. So even if they can't get into the Instagram, we'll turn it up and let Instagram hear them, hear what they have to say as regards to why our generation does not vote. Bishop Luter, you're up.
Sure. Thank you so very, very much, Bishop Robinson. Appreciate you, and to these young men who
hear what they have to say. Regards to how we're getting ready for the vote. Bishop Luke, hold on. I'll
can
do
you
it
hear
from
me?
my end. Bishop
Thank
Luda,
you, and to these young
turn one
brothers
of
who are
your
still
mics down
doing.
because we're getting back the feedback like in a church.
Okay.
Bishop,
Is that better? Is that better?
that's a lot better. Just talk a little loud. No. Is
All
that?
right.
Do we know who that's coming from? One of you all have to mute your mics.
How about that? Is that better?
Jojo, maybe mute one of your mics.
All my mics is on mute.
Or okay, something just okay. Let's see.
Yeah, everything's on mute.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead, Bishop Luda.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yep, just talk real loud.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Bishop Luda, are you watching? Are you turn
Yeah.
off the Instagram? Because I'm hearing that come round back out. Minister Sween, maybe if you can mute one of yours, maybe it's one of yours.
Both of my mics are muted, Bishop.
We definitely muted.
Then,
Yeah. I've turned off Instagram.
all right, go ahead. Try now, Bishop Luda. Go ahead. Bishop Luda.
Oh, that's definitely his mic.
That's your mic, Bishop Luda. All right, so I'm gonna switch to Bishop Willie. Let's try to get him in while Bishop Luda, we get you situated. Because I think that's your mic giving us that feedback. All right. Bishop Willie, you're up.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Oh, we got that feedback. Let me see. Let me see if it's mine. Hold on. Hold on, Bishop.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. What's up?
Hello, everybody. Hey, Jojo.
What's shaking?
God bless you, Bishop. How you doing?
Hold on.
Bishop Willie, come off of Instagram.
Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2.
I don't know. There's a feedback coming in, and I don't think it's from any of us because all of our mutes are mighty.
Okay, that sounds better.
Hello.
We can hear you.
Bless you, Bishop. How you doing tonight?
Hello. Bless everybody.
Robinson, you want to try that? Robinson, you want to try that?
I want to try that. Those that are on Instagram, follow us now on the GOTV Broadcasting Network on Facebook. Minister Sween, if you can put that in the chat, we'll continue the conversation on Facebook.
Okay.
Bishop Willie, come back in, guys. We're going to go that way.
All right.
Is it working?
What's up?
It's not working.
Nah, it's you probably should have used your phone for the Instagram. You probably should have downloaded Instagram on your iPad. You don't have Instagram on your iPad, do you?
No.
Yeah, you can't.
I use Al.
Yeah. Or you could have used your phone for the Instagram. Like you could have held your phone in your hand and been on Instagram while still being on that.
All right, guys, we are back live. All right,
So we good now.
we're good now. Bishop,
Which one? Bishop Luda?
Bishop
Bishop?
Willie, where'd you go?
I'm right here.
All right, hold on, stay there. All right, we are all set. Let me just make sure everybody's on. I see Bishop Willie, Bishop and Jawaan, and bring you in. All right, there you go. You have the floor, Bishop Willie. So the question goes to you in respect to why don't you think, or why do you think it's an issue with our generation voting? You heard the young people. You got 90 seconds to state your position, and then we'll go to Bishop Luder, and then we'll have the young men ask questions.
I believe that is called lack of education, being misunderstood. We as people are given choices, and with every choice, you have a right to look at things, understand things, or not pay things no attention. And voting, voting is a right for everyone. But if you don't understand it, you won't do it. And many times, our forefathers, many of them went to jail. Our mothers would put water hose on them for the children. They wanted to vote in the South. In the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and 60s, they could not vote in the South. They wanted to voice their opinion. They wanted a right to say, I want to vote and pick who I want. But when people are not given choices, they cannot say nothing. That's why it is important for us to vote now. Our forefathers fought for this, and we got a choice now. And if we miss this, we're going to miss opportunities and be too late to take care of them down the road.
I agree with that.
Choices.
Anything else you want to add?
Every choice comes with consequences. And when we make good choices, it comes with benefits. You make bad choices, they come with consequences. And once you make a bad choice, it's too late to turn it around. Right? So voting is very critical. It's like playing sports, right? It's one thing being in the game, but the spectators are not in the game. They on the sideline giving their viewpoints how the game should be played. But when you're in the game, you understand the concept of the game, the ins and outs of the games while you're playing the game. That's why everyone who's over 18 should vote, whether they believe in it or not, because why? It's your God-given right, and it's helped the right people to protect all of us with choices. There are facts, and people know the facts about life. There are facts about this election and every other election. Facts is understanding what is at stake, what is important, how will it benefit all of us in the long run, in the short run. And if we miss and make the wrong mistakes, it's going to cost a lot of people some problems down the road.
We appreciate that, Bishop. What I call you, Daddy? What should I call you? What you want me to call you?
I'm everything. Your daddy, your bishop, and your father. I'm your father first.
What's up with it? Appreciate that. Bishop Luda.
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh,
We can hear you.
So listen, I think give me about 30 seconds to provide a historical perspective, because the reality is that in the immediate aftermath of the Civil War, Black people in this country experienced the greatest success and prosperity that they had ever known since their arrival from Africa. That was taken away from us in 1876 with the removal of Reconstruction. We waited over 100 years to see America live up to its ideals. Now watch this, watch this. We saw America fulfill the dream that our generations had had for years. And that was the election of Barack Obama. Now, we also then saw the moving of the goalposts, because just as soon as Barack Obama got in, the Congress, the legislature tied his hands. And I think once we have seen that we have reached a goal, we have made an achievement, and then they changed the rules. They did not allow him to appoint Supreme Court justices, then that simply caused us to unplug. Finally, we create the biggest and the best that we have. We put him in the White House, and he's not allowed to work like everybody else. And I think one of the reasons that many in our community don't vote is the cynicism. And that cynicism is the result of having seen a Barack Obama make it to the White House and then see how he was treated and how he was not allowed to do what he was elected to do.
I mean, we appreciate that.
Most
I
definitely.
love getting the wisdom from you from you guys. The whole night has been great. Sween, what you think about that, my brother?
Yeah, brother, man. Everything, the two, Bishop said, man, it was a wealth of knowledge, and again, it's a lot of the things that we touched on earlier, my good brother. The lack of education, choosing and selecting the wrong people, in the White House to take over this country and to dictate, how we should operate, in our societies, and giving them the power to determine, what is good for us and what's not. All of those things, Bishop Luter and Bishop Willie, they touched on it, man. And again, it's all of this information we needed to hear, and it needed to be recapitulated, so that we can go back to the drawing board and do something a little bit more differently to make sure that these things are prevented, man. Because again, nobody's gonna have us our back like us. Nobody's gonna reunite us but us. It's up for us to apply this information and this education so that we can become a greater unit.
That's what it is.
It's great.
Robinson. Bishop Robinson.
I'm here.
Can you hear me?
Here. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We done heard from the bishops.
We done heard from the bishops. My God. Well, just really recapitulating from Bishop Walter Willie, and then hearing from Bishop Andy. Bishop Walter emphasized the choice, making the right decision, and choosing to vote, and then being held accountable with who we choose to be in the office. And then we have our Bishop Luter give us a historical that really helps us to identify why we have that sense of cynicism and hopelessness as to why our people don't vote, and see, and that really just echoed some of the young people in the essence of they vote and they feel like their vote don't matter, or people candidate promises things and those things don't come to pass. So I love one major point, and then we'll shift gears again. One major point, Joe and Jawaan, and want to hear your thoughts on it, is that when we did get a Barack Obama, who is a black man being president, really showing how our society can grow from being brought here as black people to pick cotton, to then not only picking presidents, but to be a president, but not giving the right to really do his job. And I don't know if any of you all remember at that time where everything he put forth, it was just kept getting shut down, shut down, shut down, working with a really pulverizing Congress that really didn't work with him. So that now you have a thought process from some of the young people, even from our own people. Well, Barack didn't do anything for us. Not hearing that point of view from Bishop Luter saying, but he wasn't really given a chance to really do what he could have done had he were working with a working Congress that will work with him. I really want to hear your thoughts on that. To our hosts, what is your thoughts from your point of view as finally having a black president, but really may not have seen what he could have done for our community? Do you think Barack Obama did enough for our community?
I think it's like a basketball player that has the talent, that has the skills, but he's not in the right system.
Yeah.
To me, it was unfair. I think he could have been in office for like 20 years and they still would have said he didn't do enough. He didn't do this, he didn't do that. It's unfortunate. I think he did what he can, and I think he was dealt with the certain cards, and like I said, his situation was so unique. No matter what he did, it still wasn't going to be enough.
Mm.
And it's unfortunate. And he's such a great guy. It's really unfair. It's really unfair, man. Like how the situation played out like that. Because I hear people say, some people say, well, he didn't do enough. Then some people say he did do this, or some people say he didn't do that. And it's like, man, I think he did the best he can. It's like having a church with like 3 members.
Mm.
It's that simple. Like you got to use what you got.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know what I'm saying?
Jawaan, what you think?
No, I mean Jojo, he definitely, you know, he basically said it. You know, he did the best he could with the resources that he had at the time. And another thing, Bishop, about that is that he needed to have the right people around him in office, because a lot of us, we tend to focus on just the presidential election, but we have to understand that the local elections are also important too. Our judges, come on, our congressmen and women, the senators, senatorial, unit, all of that plays a major role in our societies and in our communities. And you said it, Bishop Robinson. You said it so eloquently and so thoroughly that no matter what he did, they kept shooting it down. Congress and the senators, they kept shooting it down, and they didn't really help him, push his initiative as much as they should have to fulfill the needs of our demographic. But if he had the right people in office, in the Congress, and as a part of the Senate, the right judges, a part of that system to really help him, I feel like that would have made a major difference. So again, it goes back to, we need more people like us in those positions of power to really push that initiative in order to ensure the success of our Black people.
Mm-hmm.
Minister Sween, I really want to just emphasize that point, and tell me if you are in agreement, bishops. I personally agree with you, Jawaan. I think in our community we normally focus on the presidential elections, and then once we vote, and if we do vote in the presidential election, we just kind of back down. But you said something powerful, not just voting for local elections, and I believe that your local elections have far more implications and have more influence on your day-to-day quality of life. But not just voting in those local, but also becoming a candidate to be voted for in those local. And I think that brings in Jojo's statement as well as your statement, Jawaan, that we need more people in the system. And that I heard Bishop Pierce say that. I heard Bishop Willie say that we need people that look like us, not just a Black president per se, but Black congressmen, Black legislators on the local level, Black judges, all the way around. So now we have a system, and it's not being racial. It's not about being racial. It's about making sure that we have representation. Before we switch again, Bishop Willie, can you speak to that, and then we'll piggyback to Bishop Luter to speak to that, and then we'll move into our last segment for the evening.
Well, it's important to have some of us at the table. When you're at the table, you can have your voice. They can hear you, right? And many times we are left out of the equation from giving our opinion. So the local elections are very important because those persons know us, they live with us, they speak for us. And a local election like having a team. A local election is like having, you got a team, right? Team players. It's like having those on what we call the subs. The subs tell the stars, the president, the governor. The subs is there to help support the stars to get the job done. Because when the stars get a little tired, the subs go in, give them a few minute breaks. That's why the local election is very important, very critical, because they speak for us locally and in the national election, they connect with the president, the power of the bees, to tell them what we want, what our desire.
Thank you, Bishop Willie. Bishop Luder, would you speak to that? And while you're getting ready to speak to that, we have one of our facilitators that just shared with us on the Instagram side, Reverend Pearson, has an opposing view, which I love because we're brothers enough to have good and opposing and agreeing views. He feels that in the second term that President Obama had nothing to lose, and he felt that he could, I'm assuming with that statement, he felt like he could have done better. Do you agree with that statement? Do you think that in the second term of President Obama that he had nothing to lose, and therefore could have accomplished more? Or do you feel, with some of the rumors saying that it's more of the system that he had, not so much that it was what he had to lose, as much as did he have the supporting system to accomplish more? And what do you think would be different this go around, Bishop Luder?
Thank you for the question. And here is my perspective. My perspective is he had nothing to lose if he was only concerned about himself. The reality is that Barack Obama was playing the long game. He understood that he was not the only black person to occupy the White Office. And if he had been reckless, if he had been cavalier in that second term, we would not have even the opportunity for Kamala Harris today. And so I think that his behavior in the second term anticipated that years down the road, where we are now, there would be a Kamala Harris. And he did not want to do anything that would have ruptured and ruined the opportunity for a future black person to come and do what he was not able to do. Now, the second thing that I want to kind of bring to this conversation, Bishop Robinson, is it is so important that we have people who look like us, because when we are not at the table, we are on the menu. Let me just offer this quick historical reality. And Bishop and Bishop Willie shared with me this past week when James Clyburn kind of reminded us of this. And I want everybody to understand this. Social Security, your ability to have some income and to have some support, is a result of legislation that took place in 1930. Watch this. 1930, there was legislation put forward that resulted in Social Security. But there were two classes of people that were exempt from Social Security, and that was farm workers and domestic workers. I want y'all to hear this. So in 1930, when they instituted Social Security, the two types of people that could not collect Social Security were farm workers and domestic workers. In 1930, 83% of black folk in this country, in the South, were farm workers. 82% of black people who worked in the North were domestic workers. They were butlers, they were valets, they were cooks, they were maids. So we were left out of that process. And then watch this. They set the age for the collection of Social Security to be 65 years old. Well, here's the problem. In 1930, the lifespan of black people in this country was 59 years old. So not only did they exempt us as farm workers, exempt us as domestic workers, they then set the age at a place where they would not have to take care of black folk, because they didn't anticipate black folk living beyond 59 years of age. But I say it again, if you don't have a seat at the table, you end up on the menu. And what's so important in this election is not that we simply have a seat at the table, but that we are at the head of the table. So some of these misdeeds that have happened in the past will not be repeated in the future.
Wow. Well, that was powerful. Whether you agree wholeheartedly or not, you can't ignore the power behind it. I want to switch gears. And if bishops, if you guys can stay on the line, but we have two presidents on the line that's been in the wings, and I want to be able to bring them in and hear their perspective. These two presidents are NAACP presidents, one representing the Brookhaven chapter, and the other representing the Central Islip Smithtown chapter. They are powerhouses. They are very, very much so engaged in their community, and we're just honored to have them a part of this conversation. That is President Key and President Moss. Again, President Key and President Moss. I'm trying to get Reverend. I'm trying to get
Pearson.
Reverend Pearson back
Pearson.
in, but I can't get him in the room, so we got to try to get him in the room. I don't want to not have his voice represented, but at this time, let's switch gears and let's receive our presidents now. Our President Gear, our President Moss. If you would be so kind, President Greer, just to give us your 90 seconds of uninterrupted view on why our generation doesn't vote, but from your angle, what are we doing now? We heard what was done. We heard disconsent and the disenchantment from the youth. Now, as presidents of the NAACP, talk about what is being done now and what you encounter as to why this generation don't vote. We're speaking of those that don't vote. So we'll get the 90 seconds from President Gear, then 90 seconds from our President Moss, and then we'll hear back and forth from our host, our Jojo, and our Minister Sween, to really ask the necessary questions after you guys make your initial presentation.
Bishop, God bless you, Bishop, my Bishop, Dr. Walter C. Willie, and God bless you, Dr. Luter, and also Reverend Pearson. I'm glad to be here tonight as the lone president that is female. I did see my queen sister on earlier, so I'm glad that we are in the mix. And I couldn't agree more with many of the statements that have been said. But one thing that I hear that is recurring, one thing is education, right? Because if you think about it historically, and Bishop Luda, I don't know if he's a historian, but he's butting against that historian perspective. I agree wholeheartedly with everything that he had to say. So historically, by design, as soon as we had desegregation of our schools, the first thing that they took out of the curriculum was civic education. And so that was purposeful. And not only just to hurt African Americans, but also to hold disenfranchised and poor whites that didn't know the system, because they didn't want us to learn the system. They wanted to roll that clock back. So that was by design that we don't know that. And if you think about before that, we think about the Fannie Lou Hamer, we think about the many civil rights icons that voted for, that ran for office, led actions in their community to register to vote, because it's that important. People died for the right to vote. There were literacy tests. There were poll tax that was created to keep us from voting. And if you think about it, we're the only population, African Americans in this country, that were, immigrants that were brought here and changed illegally against our will, and also the only ones to have a law against us that we were not able to read and write. And so to see how the system really put in place the barriers and blocks for us to vote. So I say to my younger generation, millennials, Z, and Alpha, I say to you that, you need to vote, because first of all, people died just for even trying to register people. That is our grandparents, our great-grandparents, our elders, and our ancestors. But not just to vote for them, vote for the ones that are behind you. And lastly, vote for yourself, because this matters on multiple levels, not only just on the presidential, but which is extremely important, because, someone said it best. We know that there are laws against women exercising their autonomy. We don't see one law that's against the male autonomy and their bodies. So vote, because we are the generation that will not have the rights that were fought for, and we're turning back the clocks. Secondly, I say vote because this is the first time we see the generations coming behind us that they will not have access, no matter how hard if you look at the polls, they talk about how hard you work, no matter the education that you get. This is the first time that this generation is not expected to do better than their grandparents, than their parents. And that's what any parent wants, is for their children to do better than them. But if the system is set up economically and socially and politically, and we can't do that, that disenfranchises us. So we have to change that. The other thing, when we talk about what can we do, I say vote now in this election. Vote like your life depends on it, because it does. When you see the courts being packed with judges that make adverse decisions for us, when you see on the ballot line that there are judges that are course endorsed, you mean to tell me we can't find judges that meet our needs and understand our community? So we have to vote like our life depends on it, because it does. And secondly, I want you to hold who we elect accountable. It's not enough for us just to go to the ballot box and check off names and then wait for the next year or the next 2 years or the next 4 years. We have to go to those offices and say, listen, this is our agenda. And it's all right. That's right. The African American, the Black agenda. We want to know what you are doing to push that forward. So we go to their offices, we go to town halls, we go to any meeting that they have. And not only do we just not go to them, and Mr. Moss will tell you about our legislative forum that we're having, where we're telling them to come down to our community because we want to hear from them. So it's about us also holding them accountable. If nobody's watching and making sure that they do the right thing, they're not. And that's why you don't see things working. Now, I also want to interject to the curb cut. You know, when you're walking down the sidewalk and you see those curb cuts, you know, and you're able to roll down. Well, that was created for people with disabilities. But we now know that more than people with disabilities use that ramp. We know mothers with strollers use that ramp. We know seniors that's pushing their groceries use that ramp. We know skateboarders use those ramps. So when we do something great for one of us, we do it for all of us, and everybody reaps the benefit. So when people talk about what Barack Obama could not and could do for us, we have to remember that he is governing for us all. When you think about the percentage of who we are, if he just governed for us, not only would there not be a Kamala like Bishop Luda said, I think something else would have happened to him that we couldn't turn around. And I also want to push back about what he's done. Many presidents and administration, including Carter's, tried to get a health care act across the nation. He couldn't get it done. Barack Obama did. When you look at the percentage of us, we are 14.4% African Americans in this country. And you look at Obamacare, which they don't call it Obamacare anymore because it's so successful. They've now switched to the proper name, which is affordable health care. There's 13.9% of African Americans on the Affordable Care Act, formerly called the Obamacare. Then the other thing that when we think about his second term in presidency, let's not forget that to a tune of over 1,900 individuals, he commuted their sentences, he pardoned them. So let's not talk about what he did not know. I know someone personally who their sentence was commuted because of the RICO acts with drugs. So there are many things that we can discuss, but I can't have a discussion with you if we're not having an informed discussion. And I implore you to go to the record. What does the official record say about how things and who are voting? It's not enough for us just to check the box and vote for them. We need accountability. That's what I need this next generation to do. That's what we're working to do. Every year we have a Black History Institute that's just not in February. And we educate people. And I'll give you that information if you want to come. But it starts with the education. You know what they say. If you want to hide something, put it in a book. And so we've got to educate ourselves, read more, and understand what is at stake here. And what is at stake is our livelihood, our ability to access capital, our ability to be at the table. And as Mr. Bluto said, not just at the table and pull up your own chair, but we want to be making decisions. We want to be heard. And the way we do that is with us. And so the last challenge that I want to give, not just the younger generation, but anybody, be the elected official that you do not see. And I'll say that again. Be the elected official that you do not see. What's wrong with you running for office? What's wrong with you running for the library board? I did it. What's wrong with you running for the school board? What's wrong with you running for town council or Suffolk County legislator? Right? Because when we represent ourselves, someone said it here, we do it best. And so that's what the next generation, I want you to not just be frustrated with what you don't see, but be that thing you don't see. And I myself and we will be able to help you run that race.
President Graham, my Lord have mercy.
God.
Before we even attempt to unpack anything, let me give our president, and that's why we saved y'all for the end, because we knew y'all were going to take it home. We knew y'all were going to take it home. But let us hear from our President Moss to give us his 90 seconds of, your perspective of what's going on, what's being done in regards to the initiative and the mobilization of the Black vote. Go ahead, President Moss.
Sure. I think the one major issue that's plaguing us all is a lack of purpose, right? And being disconnected from the purpose of government for African American people. That is the major issue. And so why we're not getting, people coming out of the rafters for elections is because they don't see the point. What are we getting out of it? Why does my vote matter? Why does it count? And I think Dr. Greer Key mentioned it best. When we are in office, we do it best. But to get those people into office to do it best, you must come out and vote. That is the key. Especially when you see your brother, your sister putting their neck on the line, right? Putting their careers, their livelihood, their energy, their time, their families on the line, that the very least that we can do is support them and vote for them so that they can be the people who do it best for us. That's number one. But I don't want to stay stuck on people and personalities, because sometimes we stay in that area and we don't really talk about prosperity and policy. And those two things go hand in hand. They're like yin and yang in politics. We can talk about people and personalities and what Barack Obama did, what he didn't do in the time that he had, etc. But the reality is we need to talk about the policies that get put into place that either protect us or don't, that either put money in our pockets or don't. Okay, just like everybody else. And if we don't start talking about the yang that goes with that yin, we are going to continue to see that flat line of Black wealth continue on and on past our lifetimes. We, as a generation, have got to insert prosperity, purpose and policy into what we talk about in American politics. What would some of those things be? Well, I can tell you one of those things must be reparations. It is important, yes, to acknowledge what has happened and to make sure, like our brother said, Luda, not that it does not happen again. But we must go a step further and also put into play the things that we want to see happen that repair the damage that was done to all of us, to our ancestors, and continues to be done to us today. So we must not just talk about reparations, we must be about reparations with that vote. The vote that each and every one of us has inside of us must forge forward to finish the race our ancestors started. They suffered, bled, died, teared, fought, and some of them grinned, bit their tongues so that we could be here today to be able to finish this race and get everything they wanted for us. And it's our duty to make that happen. And to not think that it can't happen, because it can. We're at a juncture in this country, nationwide, where we may have African American in charge of the Oval Office, an African American in charge of the Congress, the House of Representatives, the power of the purse, and a Jewish American in charge of the Senate. Two people from New York, mind you, the Senate leader and prospective Jeffries as the congressional leader. That will be the first time in a long time that New York has the helm with a Californian governor to be able to impact change. And let me tell you, that'll be the first time in our lifetimes that reparations can actually happen at the federal level. In our lifetimes, and it may never happen again. So we better press forward seriously in this election. Very, very seriously. You may not know, New York State, that New York State was the first state to put into place civil rights legislation. The first state in 1945, way before 1964 and way before civil rights movement. So the laws we passed in New York forged the federal government laws. The Kennedys were a huge part of that, with Bobby Kennedy being our senator. Huge part. So the laws that we have here in New York were the pioneering laws that have us with the freedoms that the whole country has today. So there's no reason why we can't do reparations in New York and then get the federal government to do it there and after, with New Yorkers in charge of the country. but we have to have that vision for policy and prosperity. And with that purpose, we will vote like our lives really depend on it.
Wow. Wow. So, Minister Jawaan, Jojo, are you still on the line? I know he probably had to switch off for a second, but Minister Jawaan, you're here. Why don't you help me unpack this between these two presidents? You can feel, you can hear the passion in their voice. I'm ready to go do something, but help me unpack Dr. Key. And what I take out, and you tell me what you take out, Jawaan. What I take out from Dr. Key is really not just voting, but really holding those who we vote accountable. And what I hear from President Moss is, okay, yes, voting, but let's have a vision, not just for the person, but the policy, and including in that policy reparations and different things that will benefit our community. So help me, Jawaan, what are you getting? And help me engage these two presidents for about a good minute, and then we're going to bring our remaining panelists back on the line. Oh, I see him. I see Joe. Let me get Joe back in. But help me unpack it. Talk to me. And decision and education. Go ahead, Jawaan.
Indeed, indeed. Firstly, I just want to say, to President Morris and the President Key, what a wealth of knowledge. What a wealth of knowledge. Everything that you explained, you really hit it on the head. From my perspective and what I grasped, from just listening to you both, was yes, the accountability factor is really important. It's really essential, because I feel like for many years we've had the illusion of just putting our people in office in positions of power without holding them accountable. You know what I'm saying? So we have to stay on them, and we have to make sure that they're actually, fulfilling the needs of our community. Because yes, they may look like us and come from where we come from, but at the end of the day, we've put them in position to help us out. And a lot of people don't understand that the public servants, the politicians, they work for us. They work for us. You feel what I'm saying? And it's up to us to hold them accountable so that they can continue to push the initiative to fulfill the needs of our demographic. So accountability is definitely something that, is not really talked about, amongst our community. Secondly is the lack of motivation, the lack of passion, for really rebuilding our community. We're not united. We're not united. And I don't mean to go biblical, but I'm a preacher first. The Bible says a divided house cannot stand on its own. A divided house cannot stand on its own. Our community is divided, and it's been that way for many generations upon generations. So, and we keep on preaching this redundant message, but until we come together and reunite as a unit, I feel like nothing is going to change. Until we continue to raise up our young brothers and sisters to put them in positions of power and to expose them to these opportunities, then I feel like nothing is going to change. And one thing one of my mentors told me a long time ago is that society dies when good people do nothing. Society dies when good people do nothing. So if we're just going to sit there and complain and lay dormant and not really do what it takes to meet the needs of ourselves, because like I stated previously, there's nobody but our community that's going to help us like us. There's nobody in our community that's going to provide for us like us. There's nobody in our community that's going to look after us but us. If we learn how to come together, if we learn how to express the same passion that we have for rebuilding our society and fulfilling all of the needs that need to be met in our communities, then I feel like change will eventually happen. They are going to have to hear our voices. If the same way that we roar and we scream about other problems and other things that we want, we gotta have that same drive, that same passion, that same fire when it comes to voting and when it comes to holding our elected officials accountable so that they can do their job and we can be in a better predicament. So that's my take on that.
Awesome. Jojo, are you with us? We're going to shift the conversation, or before I shift it, Minister Sween, do you have a question? Very powerful, by the way. I'm trying my best not to echo and jump on because we'll be here all day. But it's some powerful stuff coming on. Jojo, what is your initial response from the president's gear and President Moss's presentation?
I'm always up for like self accountability and hearing them come on the platform and reiterating that I need to hear certain things like that. Just from my personal life, and we appreciate you guys coming on the platform. We love the information. This whole discussion today has been wonderful. My phone has been blowing up. That's why I'm all over the place, because people keep hitting me. Like everyone is hitting me like, man, we should have been did something like this for the platform. So I gotta just say I appreciate all you guys. Thank you for the information, and the culture needs to hear these topics like consistently.
Well said. Well said. Okay, who do we have on that's still with us? Because I want us to start to wrap up, but I want to have. It would be nice if I didn't lose them. I think I lost them. Bishop Willie, I see you still on, but your camera's not. Doctor Pastor, rather, I don't call her Doctor Pastor, President Key, President Moss. If you guys are still active. Let's give me, I'm going to give you a wrap up that will just encapsulate your final passion as we are in this stage of election here, and to just kind of pull the whole night together. All right, so give me 1 second. Let me get everybody situated and make sure that we are all in the family. So Bishop Willie, we will start with you. If you would just give us your closing remarks, and then we will then get it from our President Key, then President Moss, and then we'll just have the last few minutes of wrap up. And I want to say to our viewer audience, thank you for your patience. We did have some technical difficulties, but we were able to overcome. We overcame and we pulled it through. And we was not stopping because we knew what was at stake here. I heard a lot of words like education, and given a good choice because of an education. And I think tonight was educational. And I don't know if you guys realize the multiple level of generations we have represented, from those who are not old enough yet to vote, those who can vote, those who are young voters, our fathers, our leaders, and here our influences. So I think that we had a really good collection. So going back to you, Bishop Willie, give us your closing statements. Then our President Key, then our President Moss, then our Minister Sween. Jojo, you'll then take us home, and then I'll just give closing announcements in those orders.
I want to thank you all for this platform on tonight. Is well needed. The Bible said that my people perish for the lack of knowledge. And when people don't know, people make bad decisions. Thank you again. We have a duty, an obligation to ourselves, to our family, to our fellow man, to do the right thing. And if we don't do the right thing, then many people will suffer in many ways. And we're trying to avoid people suffering for misunderstanding, for lack of education. Amen. So our job is to remind people we have an obligation. You are my brother, my sister. I just want you to learn how to live a better life if we do the right thing and go out and vote for the right person.
Well said. President Key.
Well, thank you so much again for having me on this platform. I thank you, Jojo and Jawaan and Bishop Robinson for having me. Again, my name is Dr. Georgette Greer Key. I am the president of the Brookhaven Town NAACP branch. And I just wanted to leave you with these final nuggets. One, I also wanted to say that local elections, as it was said, was important. But what we didn't say here tonight was that they know how many of us vote and when we vote. And so when they see that we're not voting, they don't pay attention to us. So it's important, even if you go in there and you just check off one box, right? They need to see that, you know what, we showed up at those polls, so they know when we're not voting, and that diminishes our voice. I also want to say that we know that we win with Black women. And so I was one of the 44, and I want to encourage my sisters to go out there and do the jobs that we continue to do, because what is at stake is our futures and our children's futures, right? And so without us, we already know that many of the men would not be here without a woman. So we win with Black women, and I'm encouraging you to continue to go ahead and do what you have to do. Be in the community, vote for your children, vote for your grandchildren, vote for your husbands, and vote for your sons, because we know we need to make sure that they are protected. When they're protected, we're protected. And the other thing that I want to say is that the NAACP, the oldest and boldest or civil rights organization, is continue to fight for you, not just on the battlefield. And all of my counterparts here, I want to say, we are not just speakers, we are doers. We do something. And so that's the other thing. We're not just talking a game that we don't know about. We're on the streets, we're in the streets, we're knocking on doors, and we're in the church. So we are doers, and I encourage others to join us in this fight to get out the vote for 2024. We have early voting going on right now. You can vote on next Sunday, Souls to the Polls. You can vote every day at various polling sites until 6 o'clock. So this is what this call for. Yes, we had conversations about what needs to happen and what we want to see in the future, but none of that will be possible if you don't vote by November 5th at 9 o'clock. We need you at the polls. And lastly, to the generation behind me, because I'm Generation X. So millennials, Z's, and alphas, I want to tell you that your vote matters. And when we fight, we win. Thank you, and have a blessed evening.
Well, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, my Lord. Jojo, you have the floor. Or was it Jawaan? Whoever won. One of the J's.
I appreciate everybody for chiming in. Thank you guys for the opportunity. I love conversations like this. And like I said, God bless everybody, and I appreciate everyone.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, sir. Jawaan, you up, Minister Sween?
Again, I don't want to sound redundant. At the end of the day, we got to take action, y'all. We got to take action. We had a lot of y'all panelists that came on here and dropped knowledge, a lot of wisdom, a lot of gems. So at the end of the day, we have to apply what we have learned. The Bible says, "Be ye doers of the word, not just hearers of the word." So it's up to us to apply what we have learned to tonight, so that we can become successful. Today, tomorrow, and even in the future. Because one thing that I've come to ascertain, and this is my closing remark, is that education without application is just information. So if you receive education, but you are not applying what you have learned, at the end of the day, is just information that you have obtained, and it won't do you any good if you don't apply it. So everybody go out and vote. Again, early voting still on. You got today, you got tomorrow, all the way up until November 3rd. And of course, the presidential election. All my people, go out and vote. Go out and vote, because your vote is your voice. And we need our voices to be heard through our voting. So everybody go out and vote. And listen, I love y'all. Let's continue to stay together as a unit and support one another, so that we can ultimately fulfill the needs of our Black demographic. God bless y'all.
Thank you, Minister. Well articulated. President Moss.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate being invited on the panel, and I will leave you with these words, that we are in the middle of a new civil rights movement. Some of us know we're at the beginning of it, and some of us are just learning it today. But we are there. It is here. And we must respond by making sure that we realize that this is a long game. Don't let people get into your heads. We vote the way we vote because of our interests, and our interests are at stake. There were times when Black people voted for the Republican Party because the Republicans had our backs. That was one, if you pay attention to the history books, That was a time in history. Today's a different time. And there's a reason why we need to vote the way we need to vote this year and in future years, because there's a different party that has our interests now. We're voting. We're not voting red or blue. We're voting black. And we have to get even more serious about that than we have ever been. Okay, so don't let people get into your head. Oh, we're just giving our votes away to the Democrats, blah, blah, blah. That's said by people who don't understand the issues and don't understand the history. Okay, people's policy migrates and changes with economics and other interests. And today we have a party that, because of the numbers, they want our votes, so they're carrying our interests. So that's the way we have to go, because we're voting our interests, which today is reparations. If you're African American and you really want reparations, this is where you should be. Because I guarantee you there is no other time in American history where we'll be ever closer to getting it than now. Keep that in mind as you encourage your relatives to get off of the couch and vote. To drive home from work and veer to the voting and go vote. Pookie and Ray Ray, get them, wake them up 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't care if they're high, buzzed. I don't care what it is. Get them out the house. They have to vote. If they live with you, you just need to say, you live here, you're voting. That's it. This is a thing we must do. We absolutely must do. It's a must for everybody in this season. Let me tell you something about I agree with the Reverend. If we are not casting a vision of being at the table, we are on the menu. And so we have to if we don't pick our Project 2025, we're going to get their Project 2025. So we better make sure that our vision and our purpose and our project is what we want to come across. So everybody get out and vote. Make sure you support our Project 2025 and not theirs.
Well, this is why we save the best. I wouldn't say the best, but I'll say this is why we save the presidents. I don't want to get in trouble. This is why we save the presidents for the end. I want to say thank you to our host, our minister Jawaan Sween, our host Jojo Willie. I want to say thank you to one of the architects of this entire concept, and that is Bishop Walter Willie. Who has been on the front line of helping to unite our clergy, particularly our Black clergy. And I want to thank our Reverend Roderick Pearson, who has been on the front line forever, representing both the church, the Black community, and our overall interest being in the government as well as in clergy and in the community. I want to thank our Bishop Luter, who lent his historical lens and his articulation to the conversation, and it's always awesome hearing from him. Again, we thank our presidents. That's a whole nother show, but our church gotten in we got attacked. I don't want to go there, but we got attacked, and I thank God I was able to call our presidents of the NAACP for guidance, for support, and for assistance. And let me tell you something. Don't sleep on the NAACP. That's why I was so grateful to have such young presidents to show the relevancy and the urgency of the agency in today's day. Right now in 2024, I was getting calls back from the powers that be. And what they were saying was, can you call off the NAACP? Can you call them off? Because they saw how important, just by them asking questions in that regards. I want to say again, as Minister Jawaan said, information is information. If we don't apply it, it's just information. And we wanted to take the time to make sure you had more information. Go do your study. Dr. Greer, something you said was so important, that they know when we are not voting. And in my conclusion, I want to say this. I have walked, And it doesn't matter what party you from. If you represent my community, then you represent me. If you're in office, you work for us. And that's been my policy. So it didn't matter who was in office. Once you're in office, whether I liked you or not, you're going to work for our community because that's what you're there for. Holding them accountable. And in multiple conversations, in multiple private conversations, I heard that theme, Dr. Greer. They know when we vote and when we don't vote. And when we are not voting as a community, we become invisible. They don't even come to our tables. They don't even knock on our doors. I've walked with them and they skipped houses, President Moss. They skipped houses because they say they don't vote. They don't vote, so we're not even wasting our time to go to the house. I was in conversations where they would say, well, we're not putting dollars, advertisement dollars in that community, this community, because they do not vote. If they're not putting advertising dollars in our community, you best believe they're not putting administrative time in our community. They're not putting investment in our community. If they don't want our vote, then they are not recognizing us as a community they must serve, that they must serve. So our vote is essential. And when we come out in droves, it shakes the foundation. So from young to older, it is imperative to vote, to be informed. I love the conversation about accountability, not just voting them in, but holding them to your values, holding them to your views, holding them to what you need in your community. Don't just let them see you at election time, but make sure that you're writing, make sure that you're emailing, make sure you're calling, make sure you're showing up to legislative meetings and showing up to different meetings that they're at. And what I love the most is bringing them to us. Dr. Key, you said that, having legislative meetings where they come to us and hear our agenda, but we must first have an agenda. That, as what you said, President Moss, we must have an agenda. We must have a vision. And Jawaan, I think that speaks to what you said as far as the unity. A house divided against itself cannot stand. It cannot stand. And so I think when there is no vision, there can be no focus. And when there's no focus, there can be no unity. And when there's no unity, there can be no march. So we want to march. We want to see a manifestation of our promises. It's not going to just come. And I'll leave you with this. Even though God promised Israel the Canaan land, they still had to fight for it. And I think we are inches away, we are moments away from our quote, quote, promise. But we got to fight for it. And a part of that fight is voting. A part of that fight is showing up at meetings. A part of that fight is calling in. A part of that fight is writing in. And a part of that fight is letting them know we vote you in, we can vote you out if you don't do what you promised and what's needed in our community. Once again, I want to thank you all for your time, for your attention. I thank everyone, Reverend. I think I said everybody who I needed to say, and if I didn't say it, it's not because I didn't want to. I'm tired. We love you all. We bless God for you. Stay tuned for a few announcements on what's happening, what's going on. I do want to say this. I do want to say, as they said, early voting has already began. So get out to vote. Don't wait till the last minute. The Black Pastors Association is working with their local congregations as well as across the island, other clergy organizations that is mobilizing their congregation to assist with transportation to the polls. Transportation to the polls. So we are working particularly to make sure our elderly get to the polls, and we're working to make sure those that are in shelter that that fall on hard times are at the polls. So if you need transportation, please inbox us, call us, reach out to us. We will assist you. Make a comment. I need transportation, and we'll make sure that there's somebody in your vicinity, your community, across this nation will help get you to the polls. Remember who can vote. Just because you had a felony doesn't mean you cannot vote. You can vote as long as you're not in prison, you're not in jail, and you paid your debt to society. You can vote. So don't think, well, if I had a past in criminal justice, I have a past, I can't vote. You can vote. Don't think you cannot vote. If you're 18 years old and you are free, you can vote. I want you to go to the websites, the voter registration websites, the Board of Election websites, and read up on your rights to make sure you can vote between absentee ballots, between early voting, all of that. Don't miss any opportunity. And I'm counting on every one of you to keep the conversation going. Lastly, don't believe everything you see and hear. Do your own research. Don't believe the sound bites. Do your own research. They say this, they say that. They would like to say a whole lot of things on social media, on TV, on commercials. Do your research. Know the candidate that you are voting for. Look at their history. Look at what they have done in their life before they came on. Look at statements that they have made and comments and their position and their disposition and their viewpoints. Don't just take it from commercials or from ads or from social media, because there's a lot of misinformation out there that it's important. I don't know what happened here. That it's important that we vote and that we know what's going on. So again, take the time, find out what's happening, find out what is being said, find out why it's being said, and make sure that you vote and help somebody else to vote. I'm proud to say Reverend Morrissey from St. Mary took an entire congregation down to the town hall and voted. I, Bishop Robinson, took my church after Sunday service and voted, and many of you are doing it. If you're doing that, send a picture over. I want to highlight you. I want to celebrate you. Minister Sween, close us out.
Listen, God bless you,
Oh, before
everybody.
you say
Again,
that, hold on. I just want to make this. CC Rhines has been making a statement about propositions. The propositions. Take your time to research about the propositions. Don't just vote the ballot. Turn the page over and make sure that you are voting in respect to the propositions. Find out what it's about. Find out how it applies to your situation and in your community. So vote everything. Give us the vote on it, and then hold them to accountability. All right, I'm sorry, son. Back to you. Send us home.
God bless you, everybody. Again, we want to say thank you for tuning in. Those that are on Facebook Live, that are on Roku TV, that are on Apple TV, Amazon TV, YouTube. We want to say thank you. Even Instagram Live, we want to say thank you for your participation. Thank you for your input, your insight. To all of my guest panelists, y'all could have been doing anything tonight, but you all agreed to be a part of this panel and a part of this tremendous movement and this broadcast. So we want to say thank y'all and kudos to you all for the tremendous work that you do in your communities and in your jurisdictions. Bishop Robinson, thank you. Thank you for allowing us to be on this network. You're doing a great work in the community and, all across the globe. So we appreciate you. We honor you. And to everybody that tuned in, make sure you continue to push this initiative. It's very imperative because nobody got us like we got us. So we got to continue to stay together. We got to continue to stay united, and we got to continue to just let our voices be heard. Because again, if we do not vote, then they will not acknowledge our voice. But if we do vote, then our voice cannot be diminished. God bless you all.
Well said. Well said. And I'm gonna miss his name, but I'm gonna try my best, Jawaan. Kwani B. O'Farrell. Did I say it right?
Yes. Shout out to Brother Kwani, man. One of my mentors.
We all must support Kwani.
Oh, yes. Got to support him.
If you have relatives that live in that area, tell them they have to vote.
I don't know what you put up, Dr. Gear, but I brought his name up. There's certain things I can and can't say in my position, but I can say what he said. Our power is our vote. Yes, Dr. Gear, vote, 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 vote. Vote. That's the key. Online, real quickly. Does anybody have a quick question online? I forgot that segment. I want to give a shout out while we're waiting for any questions online. Nakaya Robinson. It is really, really hard to work with me. It's very, very hard to work with me behind scenes. I'm a little bit tough, but she was so responsible to help us with our technology and our directing and switcher. I shout out to you. Daddy loves you, baby girl. I'm so proud of you and I appreciate you. All right. So in that is, if there's no questions, I will say our power is our vote. Our power is our vote. God bless you, Madam and Mr. President. God bless you to our future president, governor, senator, congressman, something. Jawaan, you gonna be something, son. Yeah, you something now, but you're gonna be something.
Let's go.
Let's go. Stay tuned to some of these commercials that helped us pay the bills so that we can come on. Love you all and God bless you.
You've been waiting all year for this moment, this hour, this day. It's more than an event, conference, or convention. It's the International Camp Meeting 2024. Theme: Thy Kingdom Come. But if it's by the finger of God that I cast out the demons, then the Kingdom of God has come to you. Wednesday, October 30th through Sunday, November 3rd, 2024. Prophetess Jasmine Georges. Bishop Archie McInnes. Apostle Andre Cook. Dr. T.L. Penny. Minister Jawaan Sween. Prophetess Camille Sophia. And your host and presiding Bishop E. Edward Robinson II. Convening at the World Headquarters of Kingdom Fellowship of International Covenant Churches, 200 Middle County Road, Middle Island, New York. 7:30 p.m. nightly from Wednesday, August 30th to Friday, November 1st. Saturday, November 2nd, Community Festival and Youth Day, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Evening session, 6 p.m. Sunday, November 3rd, 10:30 a.m. for Sunday morning worship, and then the official day service at 6 p.m. Hear the conclusion of the matter from our presiding Bishop E. Edward Robinson II. It's a revival. It's an awakening. It's a happening. It's a move of God. International Camp Meeting 2024. Registration is now open. Delegates $25 and VIP $50, but general admission is free. Call 1-855-GO-JUDAH or scan QR code for more details. ICM 2K24. Thy Kingdom Come. Broadcasting Network, spreading the gospel of Jesus Christ throughout the world. Powerful, life-changing, faith-based presentations like preachings, teachings, and kingdom culture-focused TV shows 24/7 on our network outlets. Premier personalities from around the world right in your living room or in the palm of your hand. You can watch us on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon TV, Go Judah Broadcasting Network, Facebook, YouTube, and many more. Learn, grow, and be inspired right here on the Go Judah Broadcasting Network. Call us today for the best airtime and production rates and inquiries on 1-855-GO-JUDAH, extension 205, by email to broadcasting@gojudah.com or visit www.gojudah.com for more details. Take your message across the globe and spread the gospel throughout the world on the Go Judah Broadcasting Network. Reach over 50 million homes in America, all over the world, and all on social media platforms. Our worldwide reach through our international syndicated broadcasting partners. Our network will assist in developing your brand, show advertisement, and production for an extremely competitive rate. We also offer a unique remote studio experience, enabling you to record and submit content from your location with high-quality post-production presentations. Learn, grow, and be inspired right here on the Go Judah Broadcasting Network. Call us today for the best airtime and production rates and inquiries on 1-855-GO-JUDA, extension 205, by email to broadcasting@gojudah.com or visit www.gojudah.com for more details.